Everyone, welcome back to another episode of 1-2 Juice. I don't know when we became a podcast channel, but apparently
It's seasonal.
Oh man,
Just like the Fables, right?
Just like the Fables. One time
Gems,
the gem
and then landmarks.
location.
Yeah.
And then podcast.
Podcast. Today with us at the table, we have none other than, of course, Mengan over there, Ming over here. We got Sophira and our Malaysian national champion.
Thank you.
Nitya. Woo woo!
Not us all basking in reflected glory right now. So
Today's topic.
It is for the ladies. It is 100% for the ladies.
And if you're a guy and you'll be like, this is not for me. No,
no,
bitch.
it is for you. It is for
especially
you.
for
Oh
you.
my God.
We'll wind it back up, right? To maybe like how do you guys all get started into Flesh and Blood? I think that's the best place to start, because for myself, I've played trading card games before. Not competitively, I've collected Pokemon cards. I've played Hearthstone. Minghan has been collecting
I've
stuff.
been collecting competitively.
He's been collecting competitively.
Unchallenged, I would say.
And Minghan was actually the one who introduced us to the
Yeah.
game. But for sort of like why did you even decide to come?
I was very shocked. Like, oh, she's still here.
Yeah,
she's
every
really-
time Minghan's like, oh, you're still playing.
And then I was show up at the shop, and then Sophia is there playing like Lexi. I'm like, what is happening
Yeah.
here? Yeah.
I mean, really shout out to Minghan for bringing us in. If not, I would not have had this exposure.
Yeah.
But I think it was back at the end of December 2021.
Yeah.
When we all, like the few of us went over to the shop, right? And I guess what hooked me, in the first place, I generally like games. I like playing RPG games. And so kind of the style of it was interesting. Like you have all these interesting heroes. It's it's fantasy based, right? And so when we started learning, I think it was William teaching us.
Yeah.
And the whole strategy of the game, how it played out, was interesting to me. And so that's what like got me into it. And then it was later on kind of getting into the community and knowing a couple more people. Seeing Nitya eventually.
Yeah, you guys, I think the first time we all met was at the Newbie Blitz event. Like the day before, even the morning before we went for it, Soph was like, why am I going for this? I don't even know I'm going for this.
Yeah.
Was that the same for you? It's just gonna be all boys. It's just gonna be boys doing their boy things, you know?
It was different for Mark and myself because we were actually excited to learn a game, and also because props to Ricky, he hard sold the event to.
Shout out Ricky.
He
boat in soul.
Yeah, he hard sold the
Just
event
boat
to
in soul,
Mark.
yeah.
Like he actually followed up with Mark, and Mark was so touched. He was like, "We gotta go, man."
We gotta go,
Yeah,
man.
he even delayed his trip back to Ipoh just to attend that event.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, and I was really excited to learn a new game because generally I love board games, and actually that's how I found the shop. I was like, oh my god, there's board games.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
I brought another friend of mine, and we came to the event and we started learning, and I was like, there are a lot of guys here.
Yeah. And so like at that moment at the event when you guys saw each other, you were like, girl.
It was a love connection. And I'm like, oh, I see you.
That's crazy.
I think this is the first time like a small, like it wasn't just like a small new game. There were like the ratio of guys to girls was like there.
It's insane. I mean, it's
Still
still the
40
same
actually.
today. Like
Yeah,
even at
I mean,
Nets,
that's
it
true.
was 48 players,
Yeah.
2 girls.
Yeah, 2 girls.
Out of the
yeah,
whole bunch of
the whole.
sweaty men.
That is true. I mean, usually the ratio is 1 to 0, so
Yeah.
you know it's a
Oh,
great
progress.
thing.
Yes.
Progress. 1 to 1 is great. Oh.
What's made you guys stay on? Because I think there's a very very big difference between casual playing and
Competitive.
being a national champion. Like it's very different.
I think for me, it's a combination of what I mentioned just now, right? So it's the game itself. I would attribute a lot to the community, which this one, it has its pros and cons, right? But mostly the pros would be the community that really drove me to continuously going. Obviously, like the couple of us still played and we're all friends, so it was fun like having that and having a lot of off-screen time just playing games. But yeah, I mean, it helped having the bunch of guys, William, Dekhua, who really taught us and brought us through. I think it's similar to what Ricky did for you guys, right? It was the following up and making sure, okay, we understood what we were doing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of care and attention that went into that,
Yeah.
that made you feel like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not like touch and go. I just came and then bye. Like you don't have to care anymore. And obviously, I think we're kind of a little bit competitive in a sense. There is a sense of
A
like,
little
you know,
bit.
I'm gonna
Just a little
rock out. And it's like, oh, all these boys sitting here.
Yeah, not gonna lie.
Which can I bring down today?
Correct. I did think to myself, yeah, take that.
Those are the wins. But yeah, like what about you?
I think it's the same too, like a competitive element. Because to me, the game, like on the onset, I think it was very, very like the complexity and the depth actually took me by surprise because there were like reactions, there are layers, and the first time someone tried to explain to me what a layer was, I was like, no, dude, just tell me how many damage.
Yes.
Conclusion
Yes.
first. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still there.
Calculate. Just
still there.
calculate it for me.
Give me the result. That's all. Yeah. That's all.
Is it 5? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it was the competitive element because Mark and I come from, we used to compete for debating from university. So since then, there's been like a dearth of like, we haven't joined anything competitive, and then we were like in this.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
you just want to fight.
Sounds
Just
like
wanna
you.
fight.
I am a competitive
wanna
person.
fight.
Yeah.
You have a taste for confrontation,
Yeah.
right? I see.
Not really, not in like social interactions. I'm actually very
Like
like
controlled confrontation.
Yeah. In
Right.
competitions, I'm like, yes, I
Give
want
me a
some
purpose.
Actually, that kind of makes sense because I've never joined a debate team and I always wanted to.
It's powerful when you see people want to come and join weekly events. Like Saturdays, like Saturdays used to be my stay-at-home day, but Saturdays now is like
Armory day.
It's a commitment.
I'm seeing the people. I'm
Yeah.
at the store, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so great because we see conversations and friendships grow. We talk about what's going to come out next. What do you hope to play, right? And there's a lot of that. And was it hard for you guys to make friends at the start? Because this is something that we talked about at length, right?
The
Like
community,
Minghan and I,
the circles,
yeah.
the
So Minghan and I,
circles.
like, we would just go there and we were like, oh hi, we talk to the guys and all that.
Yeah.
And the guys can look at us in the eyes.
Yeah.
It's a whole different story with the girls, though. So you want to
Eye
keep it up?
level or and above. Just
Up
keep
here.
it there.
Up here and
Or they're like, whoa,
Somewhere
this
here.
girl it's a girl. So it's either two, right? So what was it like when you started coming into it? When you decided this is the game for me, I want to commit to this. Was it difficult making friends?
Oh my lord. I think that's very tricky. I've spent a lot of weeks talking about this with you, I guess, the environment and things like that. I think I won't say people there have any bad intentions. I don't think anybody intends to come off a certain way.
Yeah.
But I guess like what you mentioned, the nature of like the game and everything is that it's always majority guys. You're rarely gonna find any girls. And so suddenly we rock up and it's like, what do we say? Does hello suffice? Like, and then suddenly it's a lot of this social awkwardness
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
before, during, after the game. Some guys, I would say, are very welcoming, very nice. They like to explain things, and then that's when you feel
Like
okay.
Glenn, the
Yes,
storekeeper.
Glenn is great.
Glenn
great.
is such a warm and welcoming. I think honestly the reason why like we got quite good quite fast was because of Glenn. Glenn taught us how to
Same.
play,
Yeah,
right?
Same though.
and Devin as well.
And Devin, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
definitely. But then there's also a lot of guys where when you play with them and then they beat you or you beat them. Oh, okay, let's talk about when they beat you first, right? Even as a guy, they feel the need to mansplain to me everything that happened and what I did wrong. I was like, hey, bro, just take your win and leave, bro. You know? It's
Yeah.
like, take it easy, bro.
It can go either way. Like one way is they're either really encouraging
Yep.
and they're like, oh, try. There's the other way where I remember for me personally, I think this was, I had played Viserai before, but I guess I never brought him out to Armory, and I think this
And
was
we've been training in secret for a month at that point
we
already.
were
Yeah.
practicing for a bit, and then I brought him out for the first time at one of the armories because before that I was playing Lexi, and so I think my first matchup was into Katsu, I think. So we were playing, and then it was actually a quite close match, but I lost. And then for me, naturally, I'll be like, oh, great game. Like, thanks so much. I could have blah, 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 did this. he didn't say anything. He just looked at me. He was like, maybe you don't play with this one. Maybe you should stick to something a bit more basic.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And I don't think he meant anything like bad by it, but I guess honestly, if I were a guy, I don't think he would say that to me.
Exactly.
You should never should never comment on the hero people choose.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
it. As an RPG, don't do that. You know.
Yeah, because you choose something you like it, then you play it.
Yeah, it's true,
That's
it's
what
true.
William told me. Like when I first started, he was like, "Oh, I don't care. You
Devin,
just
by
choose
the way.
something, learn it." And that was the mindset I always carried. So to hear that, I guess
And then
it was definitely very discouraging.
Yeah.
Have you had experiences like that as well? so
Actually,
far?
when you said like don't tell people what heroes, I was like, the first thing is like this story. And it again, I don't think it's malicious.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, I don't think it's something you would have said to another guy.
Yeah.
So this was like after I switched from Livia to Reinar. So I bring to the armory and then, so I'm just shuffling my deck. And then like the guy was like, oh, Reinar, I see. Normally, girls like to play female heroes, right? Then I was like,
What kind of
Where do you go with that?
sorry?
You know,
have you not
But
butt
so
water
many of
crack
them-
comment was that?
but so many of them have waifus. Like you're carrying Alexi. I'm confused. And this was not one guy. It was two people. Two people said it to
Oh,
me.
my
And in
lord.
the span of a 1 week, and I just immediately went, I'm never playing Livia again. Watch me. I'm not playing a female hero ever again.
Yeah.
It was like,
This is coming
I was
from a
just
guy.
stunned. Yeah, two
Have you
guys.
met my friend Juan? Who loves prison.
Shout out, John.
shut up.
That's crazy.
But I mean,
How did that make you feel? Like,
I don't know. I was just a bit like stunned. I was just like,
taken back, huh?
why is there something wrong with
Yeah.
me playing a male hero? I was like, no, okay, cool. And that was the end of the conversation. I was just like, this is not.
but it's crazy that it happened twice.
Yeah, it happened twice.
Two different people.
Two different people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is. So here's the thing, right? Let's just be honest, right? In circles like this, Pokemon, Magic, any trading game, very geeky stuff. Most of these guys usually only talk to guys.
Yes.
I think this is where I'm just gonna say I have a daughter. I'm super interested to teaching her the trading card game world in the future. Okay, I mean, it's the thing where I also know that these guys are superbly awkward. Don't say about choosing the right words to say to girls. They can't even choose deodorant. Let's just put it there. You get what I mean?
my God.
Some
that
y'all not
one.
even wearing deodorant, man.
That's for real.
I actually get a bit anxious when a guy that I know talks to a girl who is new in the store. Because they're like, what are you going to say, bro? What are you going to say? And then you have to worry about, bro, where you're looking. Look up a bit, you know? There's a lot of like awkwardness. It's a very interesting world to be in because these are the guys who want girls around the store.
Yeah.
But they are not presentable. They are very
You're not doing their part.
socially creepy. Like I have to use the word creepy because I am friends with this guy. And after the girl goes, right, the girls are all offended and everything. Then the guy is like, after that you don't see. The guy's like, oh.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm like, why you say that? Like, I don't know. Like I just want to marry her. I'm like, no. I'm like, no. You see, but the fun part of this, like these guys don't know better, and it's like they're trying their best, but sometimes like it gets very like, I think if you're a girl, you should play this.
Yeah, it becomes condescending.
Yes.
Like even though it
Yes.
may have been intended to be advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like, like some constructive criticism or tips,
Yeah.
But maybe we gotta be a bit more aware and like just a bit savvy
Choose
about
your
how
words,
we're saying
choose your
it.
words.
These guys built their whole game sense around solving problems. So automatically they want to solve your problem
Yeah,
for you even
correct.
more, which is
Yeah.
the basis of mansplaining, right?
Yeah.
But I think fundamentally it's like, would you like it if you got it the other way around?
Correct,
Like if
correct.
someone asked that
Right.
to you, would you like it?
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
try to think of that first before you say it.
Yeah, I
they don't.
immediately thought when that happened to me,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, because eventually a couple games later, I be that guy
Multiple
game.
times.
and the immediate thought in my head is like, would you like it if I told you,
Go play something simpler.
I think you don't play this one
Yeah,
anymore?
exactly.
Like, just stop.
I wish you said it.
But to be honest, I have experienced that because I started with Prism.
Right.
And I also have gotten like, I don't think you should play Prism lah. I think you should go back to Katsu. And like I'm like.
Oh, join the sisterhood. We
Join the
welcome you.
But I feel like the dynamic is different. And
Yeah.
what like guys in LGS or like the scene needs to know that it is the same sentence, but it comes off very differently.
Yeah.
And you just need to know when to give your opinion.
Having said that, in general, the community is still very welcoming and friendly
Yeah.
and warm. Like we
Very
found
much
so
so.
many friends through it.
Yeah.
I think it's only tough usually leading up like in competitive seasons.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Everyone is very
I think it
competitive.
was the
Everyone's
second
tense.
ProQuest. I almost did not want to join because leading up to it, I think everybody was just like in the heat of the moment. Every armory or every practice even. So it felt like your losses were getting heavier each time, especially when you played certain armories and then all they could say was like, oh, bully her, or like, whatever. Why you bully her? Like sometimes it's not even that big of a gap,
Yep.
but it just feels like your loss became even worse than anyone else's, because I look around and I'm like, oh, they're not saying that to other people, but it's just with me. Oh man, I must look like this tiny player.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? If we're introducing you as Nitya and like, oh yeah, she won, and then there's usually a subtext to that. There's usually the first woman in Malaysia to win. Like, does that sometimes take away the fact that hey, it's still an achievement?
Yeah. It's I always feel a bit 50-50 about it, because even now, like when people are going like, oh yeah, Brute Queen, and I can't help but think like, so if I were a guy, would this achievement be celebrated? So and a lot of people have been very honest, and they're like, yeah, I know, it's because I'm playing a off-meta hero, and I am also a girl in the game, right? So and it's, I mean, to a certain extent, I do think it's great, right? There is visibility of more representation of other people other than guys in the game is also good for the game itself, right? You see other people,
It is.
and it's more inclusive.
Yeah.
That's the sense that you get.
What do you feel can be done by individuals and the community at large to be more welcoming to not just girls, but just in general, being a better community for the game? Because I feel like something that is a perception is probably be like, what, you're playing this game with all these boys? Have you all gotten that from your friends? Like,
I get that from my sisters. shout out.
because like I think the first event you won second place.
The learn to
Play,
play.
learn to play.
The Blitz, yeah. You
Yeah.
won second place.
I don't know how that happened, but yeah, that was fun. I think for me, it's the same as explaining like, oh, I like video games.
Okay.
Then either you're interested or you're not in that conversation. Even if you're not even like into games, then they're just like, oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
it. And then it ends there.
Have you gotten questions from your girlfriends or anybody's like, what do you do with all these smelly boys?
Got lah. They were like, a lot of guys are here, and I'm just like, yeah.
You want to hang out here?
Actually, my brother actually said that out loud. He said, like, you want to hang out here? I was like, okay. I think we've discussed this before also in our group chat, right? It's like, it's very intimidating the first time. And the thing is, like, it's supposed to be armory. And I think armory is supposed to be a little bit more chill.
Casual, yeah.
But it is not.
No.
Like, there are a number of people who really...
Off of blood, man.
Yeah. And get
Really?
very upset if
Yeah.
they lose.
Oh, do I know about that?
And I think it would help if people chilled out a little bit more at Armories, especially if you're meeting a new person. Like, if you're going to be so intimidating, why would I come back? Because then you just have like a really negative perception by the community. Because I agree, like, but when I first joined, I was like, there's a section of the community that is welcoming, and there is a section that's not very welcoming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or
There's
versus
the sweet
like
and the
very,
salty here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The really intense circle is in the LGS.
Yes, exactly. So for me, it all changed like really when I met Ben. Props to you, Ben.
Ben is like a bear.
Heart of gold.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, this-
heart of gold. Love the guy. Yeah.
And he's a Reinhardt too.
And he's a Reinhardt too. I
I'll
love
kill
that.
you with my love. Like just,
Yeah, and when I joined Crack Bobbles, then I really felt like, wow, really part of the community,
Yeah.
and like the experience like changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were all rocking up to calling Singapore together in the airport, I was like, wow, this is sekolah rombongan.
don't talk
though.
about it.
Oh, I'm so sad.
We don't know, but tell us.
Next time.
the three of us
Yeah,
literally
exactly. The three
were
of
not
us.
there.
Man, you guys should have been there. Yeah.
Shout out James White.
But yeah, I hear you because Crack Bubbles, this team is just crack.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
It's in the name.
It's in the name.
When I joined, it was like Wordle. Now it's not Wordle.
Now it's fried chicken over a span of 200 messages.
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all get there, but
Yeah.
I love it.
I was on a flight
So
to
just-
Sabah. I came back 700 messages.
Just
Yeah.
contextually, they're part of a team, and the team is very friendly.
And their team took this nationals by storm.
Yeah.
Literally.
You guys have been out. You guys have been actually the number one team for this 2 seasons now, and it's great. I think that's very important. The fact that you can find people that are, I would regard them as pillars of the community that you can kind of rally around and
Yes.
be friends with. And I feel like, and this is something that I spoke to the team about as well. Like, it's since January, since the start of this year, we've actually had no breathing time.
Yeah.
It's been major after major
Yes.
after major
Yes,
after
yes,
major, right?
yes.
And again, props to LSS for making it such a event packed year.
Yes.
With the introduction of 2 Pro Quests, there's your nationals, there's skirmishes,
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
everything in between, right?
Yep,
It
yep.
feels like wow,
Yeah.
I'm part of this bigger narrative that
Yeah.
everyone in the world is feeling. But I feel like because of that as well, sometimes it gets a little bit difficult for new players to inject themselves in.
Yeah.
I've had trouble trying to find windows and pockets of like, when should I bring new players in?
Newbie time.
Yeah, when's
Yeah.
newbie time? And I guess maybe it's now towards down season where
Yes.
we're all waiting just for Dynasty and Worlds. Like now I feel, okay, now I want to bring people to let them explore the game. But I love what you said just now, that there are different types of players. There are players who are so encouraging and warm and welcoming and supportive. And then there are just very competitive players that will not give even a newbie the time of day, right?
I won't even let you proxy.
I mean, you should know. Like, okay.
Whomst are we conversing about? I need to know.
But I think it helps having the mindset that you are the person being able to determine if the person you're playing with comes back or not.
Yeah.
Joins the game.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that's such a good
Like, having that in mind,
thought.
I
Yeah.
think that helps.
Like every one of us could just do our little part to be like, yes,
Nice.
yeah, be nice, and like maybe this person will come back.
Yeah, there is definitely the competitive moments.
Yeah.
But I think in general, it's just been very welcoming and very warm and teachy, like the proper kind of
Yes,
teachy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
not the like, you shouldn't play this.
Yeah.
I don't think your face to the hero face not
Yeah,
good or
yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Constructive feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
'cause
not
there's-
just don't play this.
What can I change about this
Yes,
properly, you know?
Exactly. There were quite a number of people who, like, when I first started out, like, I didn't even have any M's or L's, and they were just looking through my deck, and they were like, okay, yeah, you could get this to fix it out. And I love that. That is constructive feedback that
Yeah.
makes you want to come back because you're
Yeah.
like, holy crap, there's so many nice people in
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
community.
because that is the flip side of it, right? The people who bother like telling you what you can improve,
Yes.
and it's not so much as just telling you, okay, this is what I think you should do this, but it's more of like a discussion,
Yes.
and like discussing your plays and things. But yeah, there are people like that. Shout out, shout out Devin,
yeah.
who are actually the first person who really guided us. Gave me my first Voltaire when I was playing Lexi, and I couldn't open it. But, yeah.
I've heard rumors that Devin actually taught Mother Teresa how to be Mother Teresa.
Okay,
Oh.
this is
So,
crazy.
I swear.
Let us know in the comments, Devin.
But yeah, I think in terms of that environment, right?
Yeah.
I think LGSS, you guys also play a very big deal.
Yeah.
How safe the environment feels, how comfortable it feels as well. And I think like that's why like when Invictus opened, right? I thought it was a cafe. Like we were scouting out the place. I'm like, whoa, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And then like, oh my gosh, there's a card shop. You have people inside who also care about your cleanliness and don't leave things everywhere around, you know.
Props and
Space,
shout out to
yeah.
Ricky and the
Oh,
team.
Ricky,
Like
yeah.
they're so smiley.
We're not paid to say this.
Because I know shops that like, they don't smile at all. And I feel like I'm doing them a disservice buying their product. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about
So
this place.
you owe them something.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Like
Take my
you walk in
money.
the door, they're like,
yeah.
like, do you want me here?
Yeah,
Like, and are you close?
Ricky and Glenn and Saleh and the team are
Yeah,
so
so-
welcoming,
yes,
right? And I
they
honestly
really
feel
are.
like that's why like we've all stuck on. To
Yeah.
players, let's do a rapid fire of how guys and even girls can be better players. I love the thought that you put out just now. How is your round, your match, regardless whether you win or lose, going to make this person say, I want to come back and play
Guys
more?
goes everyone.
Everyone. So I'll start. I think it's very important to smile and be nice. I've played games with I've played games where experienced players before where they don't smile. I know it's part of the tactic to intimidate you and make you feel like you're already losing. But post game and all that, I understand some people need to be in this competitive mind state and all that.
Yeah.
But your interactions on a player-to-player basis dictates how you feel about the game. And I remember that when I played with one of the Derwin brothers, we were chatting and he lost, but he was like, bro, this is such a great game and everything. And then he beat me in Nats and I was like, bro, well played. And I feel like it's always like stuff like that makes me feel like, man, whether or not I won or he won, we enjoyed our time.
Yes.
Like we
Yes,
played and it
yes.
was like, oh, if you were going to high roll me to Kingdom Come, man.
Yeah.
Because then when it's my turn, you're going to be shouting for me as well. Like that's the sort of like interactions that I like. And also just kind of like, just smell good, man. This is to everybody.
I'm
Just
telling Ricky, he need to stock up on deodorant on this.
we need to have it. We need to have like store brand deodorant.
I don't know if you guys
right?
remember, there was one ProQuest that was like, one of them was like spraying everywhere,
Yup,
air
yeah,
freshener,
yeah.
and
Yup.
it was required every 2 hours.
Yes, that was
It was partial sanitization,
Yeah,
but also because
love
it
it.
smelled like crap.
Oh, thank God.
That was the best
man.
day.
best day. Honestly,
Megan was
best
there for
day.
that ProQuest, I think.
Oh my God. I really am so thankful for masks. Anyway, continue.
I bank on a lot of those interactions. Like we don't have to talk throughout it. I don't need to know your life and your grandmother's story during
no.
the game.
So
but
do you like long walks on the beach? Guys, don't do that during games.
Nobody cares.
I
my
mean, if you
gosh.
want to tell
I'll call
me,
Judge. I'll call Judge on that shit.
I won't hate it. But I think it's really banking on those small interactions, smiling, telling each other like, well done, or like, man, what could have gone better, and things like that. And just generally having good spirits because
Yes.
remembering at the end of the day, it is a game.
Yes.
And
Correct.
games are meant to
Absolutely.
be fun.
It's a
Yeah.
some
if-
might argue it's a lifestyle. But
Yeah, it's
Also-
true. Yeah, so I played with guys like Keith, Haris, Hui Chang. They're all great. Like
They're all great guys.
you feel like even whoever wins or loses, you had a great time.
Yeah,
That's important to me.
absolutely. For me, especially, I think it's like what you guys say. It's like managing that competitive spirit within you. Because even I struggle with it, because there have been moments that I've actually snapped at Mark because he was commenting on my game after. I was like, yeah, and I was just like, then I literally like had to like calm down and come back. I'm sorry I said that, because like we were both like. Again, competitive people coming from debating
Yeah.
backgrounds, but you have to manage that because at the end of the game, like you say, it's a game and
It's a
it's
game.
not life or death.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, every win feels like it's the most important moment. It's not. though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like coming up to Nets, I remember I was like thinking to myself, we're just gonna have fun. Like you don't care
Yeah.
about what's the results.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
every win is a win, every loss is a lesson.
Yeah.
And that is
Damn,
just
girl.
how you have to
Yeah.
perceive
And that's why she's holding the trophy. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people get irritated when you build rune chants and stuff. I'm just like, I'm
Seriously?
No, for real,
They
bro.
start to question it, and they're like, "Are you sure?" Like I've gotten
you
that.
should just say
before.
back, I want you to taste it. I want
it
you to
comes
taste
out,
it with your anus. The rune literally. I want your grandma to taste it. I want your grandma's grandma to taste my rune chants.
Oh no!
I'll do that,
Yeah.
but that's me.
Sorry, yeah, need anything else?
No.
Yeah.
That's-
Hang on.
I think it's great. It's going to be very hard to teach
Yeah.
people sensitivity, and,
Oh, yeah,
especially to this specific crowd. So guys, if you guys are listening, I only can speak for the guys. And that's all I know, right? If in doubt, ask questions first. Ask for permission to say something. It sounds funny, but that's the crash course
Yeah,
plan.
it's true.
Like you just if you don't start like, oh, I wouldn't do that. That's
Yeah,
not a question. That's not a question. Okay, guys,
Helps nobody.
and just consider, like, ask a question and consider what you're doing. Just ask like, hey, can I tell you what I would do in that? Or can I don't go like, that's not what I would do. I just say like, can I tell you what, or can I show you how I would play that? It makes so much of a difference, okay? If you feel like you have to explain something, which I have to say, the girls, cut some slack. It's what guys do in trading card games.
Yeah.
It's a whole dynamic of problem, present the solution, problem present your option. So
Yeah.
in a way, you will be subject to mansplaining. I'm so sorry. I apologize beforehand. So remember, or at least know that all your actions will be whether the next game gets played, or potentially if they don't play anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's on
Absolutely.
all
That's
of
a
y'all.
great thought to end on. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. We have so much more to talk about when it comes to these sort of things, but I feel like it's just important to remember: be a nice human being.
Yep.
A big shout out to who are we shouting out at this point?
Everyone.
James White. James White for making a great game. Shout out, James.
And if you guys want to check out Nitya's deck tech breakdown,
It's on the channel.
It's on the channel, so go check it out. Thank you for spending your
Thank you.
Friday morning.
Thank you for having me.
What a
Goodness,
great
appreciate
time.
it.
If you guys have any questions for us, drop us a comment in the comment section below. Any recommendations, anything you guys want to see. If not, we will see you guys real soon, hopefully in the next video on the channel. See you guys. Be safe. And just get some deo, man. Get some deodorant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye.